Good afternoon and welcome. You're tuned to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. And we are live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. Also live on Facebook and YouTube. It's our Crucial Conversations that Erie needs. Today we're talking about NWPAMade. And with us from Penn West, Edinboro, is Christopher Lantinen. Christopher, good to see you. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You got it here. So let's not bury the lead. Tell us, what is NWPA?
NWPAMade is NWPA is Northwest Pennsylvania. We all know
that. Got that part.
NWPAMade is a new project from the Penn West Edinboro Beehive, where we have teamed up with Bridgeway Capital, and it's really kind of two main objectives. We're going to have a business accelerator every year for about 15 maker entrepreneurs. Every year we'll go through a business accelerator.
Okay.
And simultaneous to that, we are going to be building what we're calling a new regional brand that is going to be focused on the products that are made here and the people that are behind them.
All right, we need to start defining terms first.
Yeah.
Because not all of us know what a maker entrepreneur is. How is that? Just tell me what that is. How is that defined? Yeah.
So I've got my list pretty well memorized at this point because I have had to explain this a couple times. So you're looking at artists, craftspeople. We're including chefs and brewers in this. We're including small batch manufacturers. We're including software developers, game developers. So really anybody that's making something. Now, that's probably not the traditional definition of a maker. We've expanded it a little bit. But I think in this current world, I think it deserves a little bit of an expansion. I think software developers definitely fall into that category. They might not be as, say, hands-on as, building a piece of furniture, but it's still, you're making something. And so we include all of them into this definition with a big focus on, that small batch manufacturing type of sphere, whether that is, a great example of that is a current entrepreneur, Hikes and Hoes.
Yeah, I know. We've had those guys on, yeah.
Yeah, so Lisa Hansen and her partner own Hikes and Hoes, and that would be a great definition of a small batch manufacturer. It's a lot of customization work. It's basically all, run out of their home. They're producing small runs, but they are manufacturing a great product made from, sustainable materials. They have a very clear vision for what they want to create, and they're artists, So I think that's a great example of that particular category.
I'm almost thinking, too, the fellow that makes the metal flags. Do you know what I'm talking about? The
metalheads, right?
Metalheads,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, really a beautiful, highly sought, and has expanded that business here. Yep. All right, so I'm going to throw my first curveball at you, Christopher.
Okay.
Could an AI prompt maker be a maker?
I would think if it's attached to perhaps an app they're developing,
okay,
or some kind of product, maybe. That's certainly a tough one, but we already see AI generation being at the core of some very exciting mobile apps and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So I would think that is technically under that definition. If you're just formulating AI prompts and maybe sharing them on LinkedIn or something like that, I don't know if that would completely fall under our category, right. But I think we got to embrace it, as a maker skill for sure.
What's the significance of the geography? Are you feeling like that folks up here need that extra amplification or boost? The NWPAMade, again, there's a lot of pride in that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess first I should mention that it's for Erie County and Crawford County.
Okay.
Those are the two counties that we're starting with. And we're going to have mixers coming up for both of those counties. So on February 12th, we're going to have an informational mixer at 1020 at the 1020 Collective, which is right downtown here. And so we'll be talking to people about the program on February 12th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then the very next day in Crawford County, we're going to be at Blissful Meads, which I believe is on Market Street in Meadville. And we will be, again, introducing the program and all that good stuff. And that's on February 13th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then both of those days, we're going to have a guest speaker after the program introduction that's going to talk a little bit about marketing. So on February 12th, Chris Norris from Revox Media, who I think you've had on this show,
absolutely,
is going to be talking. And then on the 13th in Meadville, it's going to be Ron Maddox, who owns Bull Moose Marketing. So that's a cool thing. But I guess to get back to your original question, why this region, or what kind of help do we think they need? I think the one thing that is really great about this region is, and what really makes it a great place to own a business, is it has this robust entrepreneurial support network, first and foremost, which of course the Penn West Edinboro Beehive is part of. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a lot of inspiring geography to pull into work. You look at something like, there's an artist named Brandon Borgia who does these I don't know if they're 3D printed, but like laser cut maps of like Lake Erie and Edinboro Lake and that kind of product. And clearly he's using the regional geography to, create something that I think would appeal to both residents and tourists alike. So I think just having all this inspiring geography around us is certainly part of it. We have a lot of public maker spaces. It's a great place to own a business, and that's kind of part of our whole initiative, is to sort of highlight that factor, so I don't quite know if I answered your question, but I went on a tangent.
It might, generally when somebody does like a new project, especially you're bringing Bridgeway involved, that there's a felt need there, that maybe there's barriers that we're trying to jump over as far, and the cool thing about Penn West's, position in the greater Northwest PA Beehive is, you guys are the marketing dudes. You're the graphic designers and things like that. So you're kind of really leaning in on all that.
Yeah, so I think Bridgeway's already been sort of attacking these issues, because this program is an evolution of the Erie-Made Business Academy, which I don't know if you featured on the show before.
I didn't know about that one.
So we changed the name, and we're expanding that definition of maker entrepreneur a little bit, but they definitely were bringing in a lot of artists and craftspeople and folks, and attacking those marketing issues. I think they did a lot about bookkeeping and taxes, and like kind of those they're not really business basics. They're certainly elevated from there, but they're business essentials, And I think what we find at the Penn West Edinboro Beehive on the marketing and branding side is that these people are amazing artists. They're amazing makers. They have this great idea, but even just choosing where to sell it, whether it's on your own website, like with a Shopify website, whether you go to Etsy, whether you find some other party that maybe offers you a better deal or better exposure, or, even if you want to take the product out to external, like physical vendors in the county, there's legwork that has to be done there. So I think making something and marketing it is entirely different challenges. And so, that's certainly going to be a big focus of this program, is making sure they're selling it in the right place, or connecting with the right, regional vendors, or, all those kind of challenges that they face, for sure.
It seems too that there's a lot of kind of growth in this sector, in the maker space kind of sector, and it's you can't just live on craft shows alone, that you need to have online presence. You need to do the whole social thing, and you need to be able to make sure you're separating your money from what goes toward the business and what might be personal things. Not every maker is going to have a boatload of business acumen like you described,
Yeah, and we certainly have some folks that are treating it as a side hustle, and maybe this is the program they need to sort of make it into their main revenue stream. So that's a jump we would obviously love to see. I think another thing to note about maker entrepreneurs and creative businesses and small batch manufacturers is it also just helps the region in terms of like economic resilience. And economic resilience is basically this term that describes how communities can handle economic shock or closures or some major change in the economic sphere, right? And a lot of research states that having a lot of entrepreneurship or startup resources is one of the best practices to growing that resilience, because you're building up all of these smaller enterprises, right? Or all of these side hustles, or side hustles that turn into main hustles, right? Whatever we want to call that. And so, when we were writing this grant, economic resilience was a big part of that narrative. Is how can we continue to boost that in this region and foster it? And I guess just help those folks that are kind of building their own thing that's separate from the major industries in town. Obviously, we need those major industries. Like, I think it's healthcare and social services is number one for employment, and number two is manufacturing, traditional manufacturing, right? And so having all of these smaller, robust and productive, enterprises run by individuals, I think, only increases sort of the diversity in town in terms of like what these businesses are, I'm
interested in these first 15. Have you already locked up the first cohort or no?
No, so that's kind of what we're in the process of doing right now. We are, heavily recruiting for the mixers and for the applications. So we are taking applications for the first cohort of 15 maker entrepreneurs until March 10th. Yep. So about a month and a week. And so we're heavily recruiting right now. And if you're listening to this and you're a maker entrepreneur, we definitely want your application for sure. Yeah. If you just look up NWPAMade Bridgeway, it'll be the first thing that pops up on Google. And it's also all over our Facebook pages and, all our social media platforms right now will be the application link.
We're talking to Christopher Lantinen. He is from Penn West Edinboro and the Penn West Beehive here. We're going to take our first break. It's 4:18 on Talk Erie on this Monday. We're kind of staying focused on economic development and jobs and all the things that makes our community grow. Stay with us. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Some opportunities for makers in our region, coming out of Penn West Edinboro. Christopher Lantinen from the Penn West Edinboro Beehive is with us. And we're talking about NWPAMade, what is it, .com or?
No .com yet.
No,
well,
okay.
I mean, I have it, but no website yet.
No website yet, yeah. So you do have the deal. So I'm interested in this regional brand of because when people are searching, they want distinctives. And so could you kind of draw that out a little bit more for me, if you would?
So I think the idea behind this is that, I think we have done a great job of branding ourselves as a region, especially Erie. Visit Erie does a great job. The Erie Downtown Partnership does a great job, building out this area, plus highlighting, what makes it a unique place to come and check out, to visit, right? But I think the gap we're trying to fill here is that, can we continue brand building, but again, focus it on the products that are made here and the creators that are behind those products, right? I don't think that's the missing piece, I think, for our regional brand as of right now. And, Bridgeway did this great program in Southern PA called ACRE, which, or acrepartners.org is the full website, where they really focused on like Northern West Virginia, Southern, Southwest Pennsylvania, and they built this great model with, a directory of creatives where you can go to all their websites and, buy their materials. But it also talked about, again, what made the region so hospitable to entrepreneurship. It was kind of like this full package. And we looked at that and thought, could we do something similar for this area? Because, again, all of the reasons I listed before, I won't, bore everybody by repeating them. But this is a great place to open a business because the support is vast and at times in depth. I don't think there's many cities where you can, get the business consulting of like an SPDC, which is super important, but then also go to the Beehive where you have students ready to give you, hands-on assistance in like building a website or, putting together, streams of revenue like Gannon does, or getting great market research like the Mercyhurst Beehive does. So again, it kind of the whole idea of the NWPAMade as a regional brand comes back to celebrating those products and also celebrating why this region is a great place to own a business.
It sounds like there'd be at least two pillars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There'd be really discussing and elaborating on the assets that are available to an entrepreneur, a maker entrepreneur, as you call them.
Yep.
But also, telling the stories of people that are doing it, right? I mean, I feel like just like you, I feel like you get inspired to maybe do something when you see somebody else doing it, right?
Right. And so we want to be a home for, that's a great way of putting it. We want to be a home for those types of stories, of people that have built their businesses. And also, if you like the product that you see, there's going to be a little link there that says, go to the website and you can purchase, So that's obviously going to be part of it as well. But we want to tell the story of, what's happening in this region product wise, because you got the big headlines and everything. And again, they're very needed.
Yeah,
but
sure.
There's, this very exciting and innovative and diverse population of maker entrepreneurs that are creating stuff all the time. And I think their stories are getting told, but we want to unite them under kind of a single banner, so to say.
Do you feel that this website and these efforts will morph into, really strengthening even the supply chain to the end consumer? I mean, do you anticipate maybe being like a regional online catalog of stuff that's available? I don't know.
It's certainly something we've thought of, and
Yeah.
I think the step one is just going to be establishing it as a brand, as an idea that there is this collection of products that are made by people from around here. But I think like an e-commerce aspect to the whole thing is always sort of in the back of my mind of, because we've had places like Gone Local in the past that did a great job with the, the local product boxes. And we have a lot of stores around here that thankfully stock local products like Gordon's or places of that nature. So
sponge candy.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the highlights that I mentioned, right?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody knows sponge candy, but we want people to equally know, Lisa from Hikes and Hoes, and Brandon Borgia, who creates the maps that I talked about earlier, and Metalheads, and all these different places that are exciting and, again, innovative and kind of future focused and thinking about things that the next generation cares about, like sustainability and eco-friendly materials. And so I think those are the kind of stories that we're looking to sort of bring together into perhaps one single thread instead of a bunch of disparate threads that are worthy on their own,
And you mentioned that it was a grant. Is this, Bridgeway financing this, or tell us a little bit about that?
So it's a grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC grant, and it's part of their Power program. So we got it last October, and we've been sort of in the planning stages, and now sort of officially launching it. And again, like I said, taking applications for this first cohort, and so it is a grant program. Yep, and so we were really excited to get the money from ARC, and they're very supportive of the vision.
Is there any out-of-pocket for the participants? Like, if you get selected as part of the cohort, what's your skin in the game, I guess?
As with all Beehive stuff, completely free. So
it's amazing.
It's pretty awesome. And in the cohort, if I could just talk about the accelerator, a little bit. Excuse me.
Sure.
It's made up of peer sessions, so group sessions, educational lectures on different topics, whether it be bookkeeping or taxes or legal concerns or marketing. And then it's also going to be a good amount of one-on-one business coaching from Amanda Duncan from Shiara Consultants, who is a local leader in the entrepreneurial sphere. And so she's going to be running the program and doing this business coaching. So the business coaching will really be laser focused and suited towards whatever particular challenges that entrepreneur is facing. While the larger sessions will, be a little broader, obviously. But other things they're going to get is the accelerator participants. That is, other things they're going to get is like a stipend use. So, there will be a guided stipend use to pay for professional services that they might need. So again, I don't want to keep going back to taxes, but it is tax season. I guess it's on my mind.
Sure.
But if you need to do business taxes, maybe you use the stipend on that. Or if you need to, get something produced, that's essential to your business functions, maybe you get that produced, business cards or whatever it may be, So, and then another part of it, and kind of how we come into this, is that after they're done with the accelerator, they're going to come to the Beehive, and we're going to have a pocket of dedicated students specifically for them. So those 15 cohort members will also be receiving free services from the Beehive and the Beehive students, and so I think that's another cool, handoff that's going to happen.
Sure, and of course, a big win for your students, right? To have this kind of interaction with the maker entrepreneurs. We're talking to Christopher Lantinen. He is from the Penn West Edinboro Beehive about NWPAMade. Stay with us. More ahead after the news on Talk Erie. Appreciate you tuning in to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. We're talking entrepreneurism and maker entrepreneurs with Christopher Lantinen from Penn West Edinboro, the Penn West Edinboro Beehive, and this accelerator called NWPAMade program. And again, this is all about outreach for folks that maybe doing a side hustle or have started really working hard on creating products kind of with your hands. I mean, that's, this really does go right to kind of the heart of our Erie heritage of advanced manufacturing and entrepreneurship, doesn't it, Christopher?
Well, it's people with some kind of specific skill, that have decided to make a business out of it, to put it very simply, whether it's degree aided or not,
Right.
It could just be somebody that, yes, has a passion for, furniture or, has a passion for the outdoors and want to create products around that. So that we're looking for those people with that kind of innovation sort of trait built into them, right? That are always kind of thinking about what can be the next product or, what can be the next twist on an existing product. So, and we run into a lot of those folks at the Beehive already, that come and request help, and whether it's with a website or social media or whatever it may be, we have met all these folks over the years, but I think now we're certainly focusing on a particular pocket of entrepreneurs with this grant funding,
Right.
and with this program. So,
can we jump to the Beehive for a second?
Yeah.
Again, the Northwest Pennsylvania Beehive, because I think we, a lot of times we talk about, the process and the people that are coming up, but sometimes we don't hear the big success stories of, hey, this guy now has 5 people working for them and so on. Can you share some of those stories of successes and because if jobs are really being made, we need to hear about it,
Well, I don't think this one has a job created behind it yet, but I think Kivo is a great success story. So Kivo is run by this guy named Paul McMahon, who was an Edinboro alum. That's how he found out about the Edinboro Beehive and how we initially connected. But Paul is up in Mercer County, and he created a cold brew maker, basically, but it's one that utilizes like K-cups. And so it's this cold brew maker that you put K-cups into it, you put into the mug overnight, and it comes out this delicious cold brew, right? And
I think he was on one of the shows here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So he did a Kickstarter a while back. That might be why he was on the show.
Yeah.
And he raised, I think, $17,000 in a Kickstarter that was actually run through Gannon. And Gannon helped him out with it. And then just recently, he got $10,000 from, I believe, the Mercer County Innovation Fund. I might have messed up that name. I apologize, but something of that nature, right? And so he just got another round of funding. And this past winter, he was sending out his Kickstarter rewards, which was basically the first Kivo, like the first actual product. So I own one. It's on my shelf. It works great. Paul did a great job bringing kind of like a wild idea. Again, maker entrepreneurs, they has some kind of wild idea, and obviously had to put the specs together and had to work with a manufacturer of some sort, and it's really quite an ambitious product. And came out great, I think. And
I mean, bringing a consumer product to market at scale. I mean, that's not something that he's just 3D printing each one out. You've got to get a mold and I'm assuming it's made out of plastic.
Well, he's still working towards like that mold process. And the other thing I wanted to mention with Kivo is that, so we work with them. We do the logo for Kivo.
Okay.
A student named Shelby Smith put together the logo and a business card and all the branding elements. He takes that, he applies it to a website. Gannon comes in with help on the Kickstarter. So it's just like all of these different, talking about that entrepreneurial support network, not just in the Beehive, but in Erie in general. I think he's got a ton of support out of this area, and we were happy to lend them all that assistance because, again, it's a cool idea, and who's out there making products in the coffee market? You know, that's a really competitive space. And I think he's fighting those battles.
I think what is it? George Clooney has a piece of Nespresso or something like
he's
that,
always
right?
In the commercials, yeah. We're gonna get Paul on the Nespresso commercials next. That's the next goal. But no, he's a great, again, innovative mind, really smart, and just put together an awesome product.
Wow,
that's still going now because of these funding sources and. Because he's really hardworking, to be honest,
Yeah, I mean, you've understood this, that entrepreneurship isn't for everybody.
No.
I mean, especially if you have that killer idea and it's just driving you crazy, that you have to keep it going.
Yeah.
But you also have to keep like the lights on and your kids fed and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a garage invention until it hopefully isn't, but that's kind of where these ideas start, so and we have a lot of folks that are like that, or just a lot of folks that have a service. Like at the Penn West Edinboro Beehive, we do a lot of websites and a lot of logos, and so this past semester we worked with 911 Vision Express, which is an eyeglass.
I love those guys.
Them?
I know them. Yes.
So,
Anthony and Eve.
Yes. So Anthony and Eva own 911 Vision Express down in the Edinboro Mall, which I don't know if people have been in the Edinboro Mall recently. It's kind of like on the comeback trail here.
That's good news.
They have a lot of really cool shops in there. They have an independently owned clothing shop. They have Tia Maria Wiggs just moved in there.
Saw that,
who was a graduate of the NWPAMade, to bring it all back around, was a graduate of the NWPAMade Business Academy that Bridgeway ran. Has, again, an amazing concept and idea, and she's very charismatic and has a great YouTube following because she does content around wigs and how to care for them and how to pick the right one and everything. And so she just opened a shop in the Edinboro Mall.
Yeah.
And so it's on the comeback trail, So it's pretty cool.
Now, again, universities have to get students, and it makes me wonder, as an 18-year-old up-and-comer male or man or woman saying, hey, I'm interested in being my own boss.
Yeah.
What kind of coursework or what kind of a trajectory would be at the university level for that person?
Well, yeah, we definitely have some classes geared towards entrepreneurship and marketing, and we have an MBA that I was talking to you about earlier. But the Beehive actually has something called the Student Startup Hub, which is a space right next to the Beehive in the library, in the newly remodeled Baron Forness Library.
Yeah. And
we literally rent out computers and desk space to students that want to start a business.
So you have a co-working space right in the library, basically.
Yeah, basically. I wouldn't say it's I think I wouldn't say it's anything as advanced as like what Radius has. They're what the great space at Radius is.
The unlimited coffee, right?
Well, we got some K cups, but
there you go.
I love Radius, and Sean's doing a great job over
Absolutely.
there. But yeah, so we just have a little space for students. I think it's 5 desks total, and they can rent out the space for free for the semester. And just the biggest thing is that they're just close to the Beehive, so if they need anything, like say a connection to the SBDC or a connection to any of the other Beehives. Right now we have a student who owns a photography business.
Nice.
And he's just kind of working towards his LLC, that whole process. And he's writing up a business plan, so we hooked him up with the Clarion SBDC, which obviously is part of the Penn West system now, as you know. And so he's writing his business plan, and he's getting a logo from us, and he's just kind of, built. He's like a second semester freshman, and he had a business idea, or he was already taking pictures and, getting little jobs here and there. And it's like, let's make this a real thing. So those are the kind of students that we're looking to help out. Get them close to us, get them close to the resources in Erie are vast. And I think now they've been reported, but there was a time where they were sort of underreported, right? That we had all of this help and all of these institutions that are kind of have offices in their universities that are strictly dedicated to helping businesses. That's the whole Beehive thing, so
let's go. Let's flip the script and go to the folks that are at the end of their career. Let's say you worked as a highly skilled manufacturer at Wabtec or whatever your whole career. Now you're done. You're collecting your pension, but man, you have all these skills. It sounds like this maker space, being, I can think of welders that would just, be amazingly creative or something like that,
Well, again, we have like these different levels of accelerators and programs in Erie. Like if they are ready to go into business for themselves, you got the Achievers Entrepreneurial Hub over on Liberty Street in Erie. We've got Paramount Pursuits. We've got all of these kind of step one type of accelerators that they can kind of, maybe write their business plan or get their LLC established or do all of these things. So we have great programs in town for people that are just starting out. Or you could go down to the Erie County Public Library, which is part of the Beehive. Go into their makerspace. Obviously, they have information about all the Beehive branches down there, but they also have cool little tools that you can play around with, whether it's a 3D printer or a Cricut or any of these sort of Glowforge, any of these sort of small batch manufacturing type items that maybe you don't want to buy, but you want experience using. So, and I would think the theoretical person that you're imagining would be good at that kind of stuff, you know, and good at product design and know a lot about the industry. And I think there was a study out in, there was a study about maker entrepreneurs, I think out in Harlan County, Kentucky. And they were kind of studying these exact type of individuals that have all of these skills. And they were just saying that they make for natural maker entrepreneurs because they know about they obviously know about production, but they also know about the transportation industry and they know about all of these different kind of materials, whether it's plastics or metals or, you know what I mean? And so they just kind of made, and they have the technical skills, you know? So I'll have to send that study over to you because it was a really interesting kind of analysis of how those that worked in the manufacturing economy make for natural maker entrepreneurs because they have all of these transferable skills. So
it makes a lot of sense, and again, you know, I think the key here on a more macroeconomic level for the region is the more dollars that we can keep here, and if you're able to sell, I'm thinking of the hose, the hikes and hose. I mean, they're selling across the United States. These really cool deals there, the pouches and things, right?
Yeah, bags and wallets and pouches.
I mean, they have a national audience. I mean, that's just bringing dollars in. I mean, that's how you want it to go.
Yeah, for sure. I worked with a grill equipment company, Bad Larry's Barbecue Grill Tools.
Why is Larry bad is the question.
Not sure, but apparently he is. And we were working on his website, and again, he was another person that was selling products nationally. He's up in Warren County.
Neat.
But he was selling products nationally, and because we were managing his website, we were seeing orders come in from all over the place. So we were just helping him kind of optimize his website a little bit. But he had this great locally made product, stainless steel, had these elements built in that helped with the weight of food, and again, ingenious things that he was just coming up with on his own. And it was really again inspiring to see that a lot of people from all over the place were ordering these materials. Yeah, that's cool. We're down to a couple minutes here with Christopher Lantinen, and I want you to go back to that invitation piece for this cohort and this business accelerator that is designed for maker entrepreneurs. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah, so right now we're taking applications for NWPAMade. We're going to have a accelerator of 15 maker entrepreneurs. Do you think we said that word enough today?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, makers, creative businesses, we can describe it a couple different
And is that
ways.
15 between Erie and Meadville or 15 each?
15 between Erie and Crawford County.
So it might be a little competitive.
It might be a little competitive, but that's okay. That's okay. We're also going to have years after. We're going to run this program again, so we'll definitely take an application twice, but So the applications are now open. If you look up NWPAMade Bridgeway, you'll land right on it. And then we're also doing 2 informational mixers about the program. The first one for Erie County is on February 12th, 5:30 to 7:30 at the 1020 Collective. And then the second one is the very next day, February 13th, same times. And then that's at Blissful Meads in Meadville.
Wow.
So either of those, or, find the application link. You can follow the Beehive at Penn West Edinboro Beehive on Facebook. The application links are all over that page. Same thing on Instagram. And then on LinkedIn, it's just the NWPA Innovation Beehive Network that you can find us at.
I appreciate that, Christopher. And honestly, I feel like programs like this really continue to enhance and grow this this vibe of having this district, this maker district, or this maker community here in Erie, and where it's that mix, that mashup of, I like to use the word amalgam, of arts and culture and manufacturing and creativity, and that just boosts our quality of life to a major degree, don't you think?
I think we end up buying local more, and we end up, I think one of the things you just said there is that we have a lot of traditional manufacturing in town. That's another advantage of starting a business here, is that if you do need, it's not just, I'm not saying traditional manufacturing in a bad way. It's very innovative, the techniques they're using and they're putting out there. But if you do need a product manufactured, you're right next to all these places that can do it, So that's another reason why this area is so conducive to entrepreneurship, which I think our area is.
There's no doubt about it.
And not every area is like this. And those people that have ideas and want to start businesses, they can take advantage of all these free resources. Everything's free, basically, right? Including NWPAMade.
Completely free. NWPAMade. Christopher Lantinen from Penn West Edinboro and the Penn West Edinboro Beehive. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You got it. It's 4:52 on a Monday edition. Stay with us. It's the Joel Natale Show.